Hey, welcome to Tin Maxx. I'm Tin. Max
Hi.
is on one side of me or the other. I'm not sure which. Mass Effects. You might have heard of it. New
Yeah,
one. Might have heard of it.
maybe.
There's not much out there,
And 7 day.
but we want to talk about it. We're big Mass Effect fans here at Tin and Max. We've done a tier list on the Mass Effect squad mates. Check that out. And
So watch it.
yeah, this is kind of our reaction to the teasers, what we know about it, maybe a little theorizing, maybe a little like what we want from it, that kind of thing. You'll get it. You'll get it. So,
Yeah.
just to dive right in, Max, what did you think of the latest teaser?
The lack of teaser is I feel like is more the appropriate term. I know it was N7 day. Guys, it has been 3 years of they've done teasers on N7 days, where every single year there's a little something, with I think the very first year was the biggest teaser, quote unquote, that we had. Um, and that was Liara. And the last 2 years has been kind of a little disappointing, but honestly, the good news is they are still working on it. BioWare obviously had a big shift where they let a lot of people go. So obviously, it's always scary whenever you see a game developing company like that happen because you don't know if they're going to continue the game. So I mean, 3 years we have it confirmed that they're working on it. So at least they're taking their time
Yeah,
because
I'd
this
rather
Mass Effect
them,
Andromeda was terrible.
take the time they need to make it so we don't get Andromeda
Yes,
or
yes,
what's that one they did that did absolute Anthem. We don't want
yeah.
an Anthem.
No, no, we
Um,
want a good game. So I mean, again, I think the teaser trailers, there weren't a lot from it, but I do think it's fun to talk about. I mean, it's fun
yeah,
to think about Mass Effect and can kind of theorize. What did you think about the different teaser that just came out?
I think for one, I like the design of whoever that new character is. Kind of cool, kind of sleek and modern, even by Mass Effect standards.
Yeah,
And I love that we don't know who it is. um,
that is a good thing. That is a good
yeah.
thing.
I think there's some really interesting things in that still image that they released on Twitter of the character, and you can see like some silhouettes and people hanging out in a bar or whatever it might be, afterlife. We don't know. I don't know. I think there's always that part of me that's like, oh, I want more and I want it now. But think they're doing a good job of kind of giving us enough that like, oh, hey, we could maybe start theorizing, start thinking about it, be like, oh, maybe this is what happens. Maybe this is what we want to happen. That kind of thing. And some news is better than none. Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. Yeah, agreed
So
fully. Agreed
I
fully.
think,
Now, I agreed totally with the sleek look. That I think is really cool. That's
yeah,
really cool.
I'm interested to see if that's just 100% like a new playable character. It could be Shepard, could be whatever their name is from Andromeda. I don't remember. Um,
I love Shepard. Bring back Shepard. I love Shepard. Don't get me wrong. Love Shepard. Don't
no,
bring back Shepard. He's already.
I think
They need to
Shepard's
move on.
coming back. I think that's almost guaranteed. I think from what I can gather about the story, I think it's going to be potentially Liara and maybe a new character finding Shepard or finding a way to bring him back or something. I
Yeah.
think obviously, one of the biggest questions straight out the gate is what ending is the canonical one? What ending will this game be? What jumping point will the ending be from? You know what I mean? That was very poorly worded, but you know what I mean.
No, I get what you're saying. I mean, obviously, Mass Effect 3, there were multiple endings to choose from, which honestly let a lot of fans, quote unquote, down. They didn't like
Quote
the
unquote.
different choices.
No, they just hated it. It was
And
bad. They didn't like it.
yeah, I mean, that's true. I mean, but honestly, I
I didn't
think a
mind
game
them.
that is full of choices, it left it with a choice at the end, kind of, like again, I understand the hate, but I think it gets bashed a little too often. Um, I personally, this is just my theory. I don't think Shepard's coming back. I think Liara is going to be on a search for him. But if we remember, Liara's species can live thousands of years, right? And so we can actually be looking at a timeline that is like super down the road. And we also know that Liara became spoiler alert, by the way, for the games. If you haven't,
Yeah, don't
played them,
watch
you
this
need to
if you
play
haven't
them at
played
this
Mass
point.
Effect.
Like golly, like yeah. Don't get mad at us in the comments if you're like, how dare they say this? Liara is the shadow broker. And so there's obviously a whole storyline that can go along with that. I think it'd be really cool if your playable character, was someone that worked for Liara, as like in the shadow broker realm, and got to make choices based off under that. I think that could be a really good storyline. Really hoping it's not Shepard. I love Shepard. I love Shepard. But his story, I think he had back to life, and he has died again. And I think he's great. He should die. Thank you for what you've done. And I didn't
Thank
answer
you
your
for your
question at all.
service.
So I didn't answer your question at all. I think the canonical ending, probably the one where all the Reapers, Geth, all of them die, is my guess.
I don't think so, because if you actually look at that one image and you freaking sorry zoom in, you can see what looks like Geth. And I
True.
think, and
I
this
didn't
has
think
kind
about
of
that.
always
That's
been
true.
my preferred ending. I think Control is the ending that will be canonical. Probably.
Hmm.
I don't think Destroy makes a lot of sense because it would wipe out all organics, including the Geth.
Yeah,
Inorganics, not organics, whatever. Words are dumb.
I get what you're
And I
saying.
don't think, and because what was the other one? It was called like synthesize, combine them,
Yeah,
mash them together, hybrid,
yeah,
whatever the ending was called. That one,
yeah.
nobody looks
Terrible.
like, nobody in the teasers or anything looks half freaking robot or whatever. So I
Correct.
think Control is kind of the only one that really makes sense. That being said, if I remember correctly, Destroy is the only one that hints at Shepard being alive with one
Hmm.
of the end credit scenes. Um, so that's something to consider. But also, like in Control, Shepard doesn't even technically die because his consciousness is put into the Reapers or whatever. Also, I think Control almost, because for those of you who don't remember, the Mass Effect relays all get blown up when the Crucible is used at the end of Mass Effect 3. I think using Control as the canonical ending kind of helps them kind of sweep that problem away, because in the Control ending, when Shepard controls the Reapers, he literally uses them to rebuild the mass relays. So like, problem solved. Destroy ends whatever the other one's called. The mass relays are destroyed. There's no jump in between galaxies, even if the game, which is supposed to take place around the same time as Andromeda, this new one supposed to take place around Andromeda, and also connect heavily to Andromeda, whatever that'll mean. I guess 200 years they could probably rebuild the Mass Effect relays anyway, but
See, that's my thought. So like, obviously the Geth and everything like that, like they all died, but like they can be rebuilt. I mean, they were built by an alien species that would still be alive. I mean, no, it wouldn't be the same. It wouldn't be Legion. It wouldn't be,
well,
the
Legion's
ones that
dead
we.
anyway.
I know, but it wouldn't be the ones that we that we love, or anything like that. But I do think that they could be rebuilt, right? I mean, and I obviously the mass relays would be the biggest thing, but if you have a template or something that you're already looking at that you've had at one point, it's way easier to build that than building something from
Well,
scratch,
that's the
right?
thing. They
And you
never
have all
built the
those
Mass Effect
pieces together
relays.
trying. No, I know they never have, but they know what it did, if that makes sense, right? So they would be.
Yeah, I
It's
guess.
like you have kind of a picture of you have the puzzle box, right? So you have a picture of it, so you can kind of put it together a little bit
It's like the
easier
second time you've
than.
used that reference.
I
And
think it's a
like,
great analogy.
yeah.
What can I say? I think it's a great analogy. If you haven't watched my Loki video, that's what he's referencing. But I
No,
think
it's
I
the
think it can be put back together, essentially.
yeah. Yeah, I mean, and like that's the thing. They could really write themselves out in any corner they want if they really wanted to. Um, but I don't know. I think Control would be my guess on what the ending would be.
Be a way to
Um,
bring back Shepard for sure too.
yeah,
Actually,
could download him from a Reaper, whatever. I actually saw
exactly.
someone float the idea that that character we see in the teaser, the one looking real cool, is Shepard downloaded into like an assassin robot or some crap like that.
Okay, that'd be pretty cool. That'd be pretty cool. I could see that, but you wouldn't get the "I'm Commander Shepard."
Yeah, you also wouldn't get
This is
like
my favorite part of the Shepard.
the
So no.
customization of it, and also like, and I think a big question just in general, because this is a Mass Effect game and choices are such an important part of Mass Effect games. What do our choices from the original trilogy and even Andromeda, I guess, mean for this new game? I remember back when the Legendary Edition first came out, part of me was like, I think they're doing this so that they can transfer. It'd be easier to transfer saves from that to a new game than like the original trilogy on the freaking whatever. And part of me still thinks that could be the case. Um, but it would also be way simpler to just be like, here's a bunch of canonical stuff. Um, yeah, that was pretty much
Yeah,
it.
I mean that makes sense. That makes sense. Honestly, if it is going to be 200 years later, though, I don't know if there's anything from those decisions that could be made that would really affect it. I mean, obviously, you have certain species that are alive or dead based off of some decisions, like the Rachni. But
Well,
it's like
even
those
like the
decisions would be really
Quarians,
cool. That's true. I mean, that's true.
because you
That
can wipe
those
out the
decisions would be
Quarians,
really cool.
you can
But
stunt the growth of the Krogans, basically dooming them, or you can
yeah,
cure the
breeding or
Genophage.
not.
I think like,
That would
and
be
part of
cool.
me like,
Honestly, yeah.
I do worry that like we're not gonna what we did in Mass Effect 3 and 2 and 1 won't matter in the new one just because it'd be simpler to just be like, here's what happened, starting fresh, whatever. But I would kind of like to see, and I just think it'd be too complicated because
Yeah.
you'd have to create a version of the game where like the Quarians don't even exist anymore. You'd have to create a version of the game where the Quarians did exist, and like
Be crazy.
200 years of history has gone by, and within 200 years, if a whole entire species was extinct, it's going to be a very different 200 years than if that species wasn't extinct. And
Well,
I
maybe
just
that's why
think
this game is taking so
realistically,
long.
that
Maybe that's why
could
this game is
be.
taking so long. Honestly, like, I mean, that would be as far as in if they, I would understand if the game didn't have that, right? I would 100% understand, kind of like to your point, like that would make sense. But how cool would that be if they did have that? That would make it where it would feel like all the Mass Effect fans were rewarded for their waiting, if that makes sense. Their
Yeah.
patience was rewarded. Instead of, even though I think all of us would be excited just for a new game that was good, I think having something that was affected by the first couple, like first three, would be really cool. Especially again, if there were certain characters that you even saw again, that if they died in your previous playthroughs, they wouldn't show up because a lot of these alien species can live 200 years is not crazy for them to be alive,
Yeah.
right? Like humans, like obviously Shepard would have been dead, but like it's not crazy for Liard to be there. It's not crazy for some of these other Garrus to be there. Um, so Archangel, it'd be pretty cool. It'd be pretty cool.
Yeah, but then I think maybe it'll be like a middle ground where some are kind of non-negotiable. Like I think Liara would be pretty non-negotiable because a lot of this it seems to be about her, and maybe that's just because most Mass Effect fans know that the Asari lived for a long time. So like maybe they announced her first because that could really leave it open-ended to any time period because she lives for 1,000 years.
Yeah.
So it could be that, but like, how do you can't really because you can Liara die?
I don't know. I think she can. I think everyone can die technically at the end of the second one, right?
She's not on your squad in the second one.
You're right.
Maybe maybe that's the other reason. I just played these not too long ago, and I can't remember.
I
I
I'm gonna
don't
play. I
think
want to play
Liara can
through them again
die.
before this game comes out, whenever it does. But I'm gonna play through them
I just
again.
did an insanity run of all 3 games, got all the trophies. It was rough, but I did it. Unrelated.
Right.
Yeah, no, maybe Liara doesn't die, so maybe that's why. I don't think she does, honestly.
That'd be pretty cool.
I think the only
She wouldn't die in the third one.
Yeah. The first one, I was gonna say you can leave without her, but I don't think you can. I think you have to recruit her to continue the game. So yeah, I think Liara
Yep.
is yeah, she yeah. She exists no
That'd
matter
be
what.
pretty cool.
Yeah.
That'd be pretty cool.
So yeah, I guess with that in mind, it really could be everything else could be up in the air on terms of it like carried over or not. And I do think games like Baldur's Gate 3, which has I haven't played it at the time of recording, but I've heard that it has so much like variability and like so many different choices and actions and every item you find can lead you to like a whole quest, and it's very like engaging and whatever. So I don't think it's entirely out of the realm of possibility that it could be.
Yeah.
I don't remember what I said earlier, but that's what I'm saying now. So
Well, waiting. Basically, the Legendary Edition could come to this and could move everything forward. I think that would be really cool, especially with next gen consoles. What we have now. I mean, honestly, the amount of data that it can go through is pretty crazy. So now, again, 200 years worth of history, to your point, for a species is going to be really hard to write out of a game. So, or write in. I don't know. I mean, you could make it where you essentially don't get portions of the game if you transfer it over without those species, right? You don't get whole quests and whole missions. You don't get whole buffs, essentially, maybe. So let me throw a question back at you. What do you think is going to be the main antagonist of this new Mass Effect game? Because obviously the Reapers, depending on what canonical ending we went with, are gone. So what do you think? What do you think is going to be the main bad guy?
I've heard some people say that it's a second wave of Reapers. Um, I don't I don't think that'd be good.
If it
It
weren't
could
the first
be
again.
God, who were the bad guys of Andromeda?
Poisonous gas and
Yeah.
not being able to make settlements because people are jerks and you have to
You
fight
had to
against
shoot
those people to
something.
make a settlement. Man, that game was terrible. Can we just say, like, I
I
don't
don't think it
remember
was
anything about the game.
terrible, but it
It was
wasn't
bad.
memorable. Because
What?
I didn't
That
like
says that it's bad. That says like the
I don't
Mass
think that
Effect
means it's
universe is
bad.
so great. You
It
could
was
have had a
definitely
bad
it's a
story and it
step
was
down.
a big step down.
A
A
big step
big
down.
step down. Do you remember all the glitches? That was like the funniest thing. All the memes from that game that came out because they were just like they rushed it to production and it was
Yeah.
poor. I mean, again, I don't. It's unrememberable, and that's saying something because Mass Effect I feel like is so memorable. Like it's so there's so much, but it's so great for the first three
I don't
games.
think we could name a squad mate. Phoebe? Is that the Asari? That's a little annoying. I got one. Did it. All right. Bye. No.
That's what I'm saying. Like this, basically Mass Effect universe is so great that I think that's why Mass Effect Andromeda is like, oh, it's not that bad. You could have put crap in that universe, and it's like, oh, this was fun to play. But
Well, I just think like it's not. I don't think it's a bad like. There's worse games out there,
oh, totally. I mean,
but like and like
well,
I didn't like. I don't remember hating it while I was playing it. I just remember feeling very underwhelmed that was the next Mass Effect thing.
I
Combat was
just
pretty good
remember.
if I remember correctly.
Well, I remember the game ending and being like, wait, that's it? Like,
Well, there was supposed to be, I believe, because they hint at like a Quarian arc, the Quarian arc. There's supposed to be like a DLC or a sequel or whatever, but obviously reception wasn't great, so that never happened. Um, so the story was supposed to continue somehow, some way. We're not here to talk about Andromeda though.
no, but you were
Is
talking
there
about the
anything?
antagonist.
Yeah, because yeah, I don't know who. It would probably have to be something new. Maybe like I don't know if they could really pull this off, but like maybe like a secret. I was gonna say it could be like a secret Prothean army or empire or something that was like frozen. They unfroze and now they want to take over because that's the thing Protheans did. Um, it could be some kind of because Mass Effect is always kind of centered around organics versus inorganics in those kinds of relationships. That's been a big. I mean, the Reapers. That's literally their whole thing.
Right.
The Geth and Quarian. That's that whole storyline.
Right.
So I'm assuming some kind of like mechanical robot something.
It could just be a new species. I think it'd be really cool because a lot of the Mass Effect games too focus on expansion, right, of the universes and all the species wanted to grow and everything like that. How cool would it be if it was they just discover a new species that's like, we're gonna take all of your resources and we don't care about you or anything else because our
Get out
world
of
is
here.
dying. Our worlds are dying and we need new worlds to
That
go to.
could
That
the
I think it'd be
tie-ins with
cool.
Andromeda could kind of connect to that because I think one of the teasers was kind of like this an SOS from one of the Andromeda ships or something.
Yeah, yeah,
So it could be something coming from the Andromeda universe.
that'd be cool.
I don't know. Okay, last thing. can wrap this up because it's kind of been a ramble.
Mhm,
Is
mhm.
there anything like you specifically want to see in Mass Effect 5 that you yeah, what do you want to see in Mass Effect 5? Like gameplay, story, anything like that?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is I want long lasting decisions, right? So like that'd be super cool. We talked about the first Mass Effect games coming over, but I'm hoping that this isn't just a one and done Mass Effect game. I'm hoping that they kind of try to do like a trilogy type thing of what we did in the first set. And so I just want long lasting decisions, and even in the game itself, something that you decide at the beginning affects the end game of it.
Yeah.
I think games with decisions sometimes can make it where have the fake decision tree essentially where you still end up in the same place anyways, and I really don't want that, because it then feels like what's the point of all those decisions? I could have said anything and I would have just ended up here. So I think that's the biggest thing that I'm looking for, is just a decision tree that can make different endings, can give you different results. And Mass Effect 2 and 3 did a great job of that until the very end of Mass Effect 3. And so again, hoping that we can kind of have that they learn from those mistakes, and get us to a good spot. That's the main thing. What about you?
I mean, I can't really think of anything in particular. I just want a good Mass Effect game.
Fair enough.
I don't want my worry is that they'll play it too safe because of the failure that was Andromeda and the hype of a new Mass Effect game after the trilogy. I don't want just like Mass Effect 2 and 3 again. I want an evolution, especially now that it's been like over a decade. It's going to be on freaking new hardware. Um I don't know, it's got to be more than that, you know what I mean? I
Yeah,
think again that was one of the biggest problems with Andromeda is Andromeda had some new ideas and did some different stuff, but it
sure.
wasn't in my eyes enough of an evolution of what we got before.
Yeah,
And that's what I think gaming, especially now, it needs evolution, it needs
yeah.
better games.
Agreed. Agreed fully. No, I'm really excited to see, and I think a lot of people will really be excited for this game. So I'm really, really hoping that they are just taking their time to make it really good, and um not taking a lot of time just because they can't find people to work on it, or are trying to find a way to make it more
Are
money
they trying to
grubby.
fix oh my god, no microtransactions. I changed my answer. It's zero microtransactions.
Zero, zero. It
Absolutely
needs to
none.
have zero.
EA, I swear to God.
You pay $70 for a game. I want to pay $0 more and be able to enjoy the full experience of the game. I
Yeah,
think
crazy ass.
$70 is crazy, guys. I should make a video just on ranting about the cost of games nowadays. It's ridiculous,
It
but
is. And then
um,
there's always a deluxe edition for another $20-$30 that
and it's like,
adds.
oh, you want this bonus DLC content? And you're like, yes. And sometimes it's worth it. And sometimes it's like, I got 15 minutes of gameplay and I had to pay $20. And they also threw in another skin and another song that I can listen to if I'm listening to the game. I can listen to the song on Spotify if I want to. I'm not going to open up a game to then listen to the music. Anyways, okay. Enough about that.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I guess let us know what you thought. If you're into Mass Effect, what you think, what you want, that kind of stuff. Um, I guess only time will really tell. And thanks for watching. Subscribe if you haven't, like if you haven't. And we'll see you in whatever we do next.